make YouTube videos.
What?
You want to be in it?
I would be in it. I don't know.
I would love a large black coffee, please, ma'am. Not a lot of places you can still get a large coffee for $1. All right.
Well, you have a good one.
Thanks. You too.
No,
Don't work too hard.
I will try not to.
All right. Ministry is one of those crazy, awesome, beautiful, super messy things that I'm so thankful that I'm a part of. I'm thankful that God would call me into ministry, that He would allow me to get to do this full time. When I was a senior in high school, I felt a call to ministry. I didn't know exactly what that looked like. I thought maybe I knew. I'd spent a lot of time with my youth pastor and other ministers growing up and serving and doing different things. Took some classes in college, but really when I got into seminary is when we really started talking some about practical ministry and what that looks like. And I've made a few videos about that. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about time management and how does that look in ministry, because a minister's schedule is different all the time, and you can have your weeks scheduled out and things can happen, ministry can happen, and all that just kind of goes out the window. But for me, that's kind of a struggle sometimes because I have a problem. That was close. So glad that didn't spill. See, my problem is time management. I think I can get things done in a certain amount of time, and I usually can't. Things always take longer than what I think. Whether it's a few simple tasks or a big project, I never allow myself enough time. Now, my beautiful wife and my family refer to this problem as Tomlinson Time, or being on Tomlinson Time. I come by it pretty honestly. My dad and my uncle both had it. Someone that is on Tomlinson Time is prone to procrastinate, is someone that says, oh yeah, I can do that, has a problem saying no, is late to a lot of things, or just right on time, and then when things don't work out the way they planned, whether it's a car problem or a train or traffic or whatever the case may be, then we are 5, maybe 10 minutes late. And so being on Tomlinson Time is a bit of a joke, it's a bit of a curse, and I've tried to do better with that as I've gotten older. I still miss lots of times. Right now I think my biggest thing is trying to cram too much stuff into a small amount of time, and that causes me to be late. And so in ministry, this can be a bit of a challenge because every week can look a little different. Every day you kind of think you know what's going to happen or what you need to get done. But then, like I said, ministry happens and things go very different. The high school had a banquet in our building last night. And so there was like 400 people here last night, juniors and seniors and their families. And so this is a bit of the aftermath. They clean up. We asked them to leave the chairs out because that's just easier for our custodian. But you know, this is one of those things, part of ministry, part of life, and it's good. I'm glad we get to do what we get to do, and I'm thankful that we have a building that can be used by our community. I want to share a couple things with you that have been helpful to me over the years, some things that I've kind of figured out, some things that some other people have showed me, as far as just kind of helping me during my week to make sure that I am really maximizing my time, not only in the office, but just in ministering in life, making sure I have time for me, for family, for spiritual rest, all those kinds of things. And so the first thing I would recommend to somebody is come up with a rhythm. Come up with a rhythm that is going to work for you. That may be sitting down and making a schedule. Now, you may not stick to that schedule, and most weeks are not going to allow you to stick to that schedule. But one thing you can definitely do is say, okay, I know I'm in the office this time. Or if you work from home or you're bivocational, I know I'm going to be working on a sermon, or I'm going to be teaching Sunday school this week or Bible study on Tuesday. So I need to make sure that I put time in my week to prepare adequately, not just to read over it and be familiar with it, but to really prepare for whatever it is. Right now, I'm setting up a Zoom call, a video conference for a meeting later tonight. So got to get that going. For me, my week kind of looks like this. On Mondays, we have staff meetings, which I'm very blessed to get to serve with the people that I serve with. We talk about Sunday, how it went, things that went well, things we could have done differently or worked on differently. Talk about Sunday and talk about wins, talk about struggles, whatever that may be, things that we all need to know about and be aware of. Talk about some of the things that God did, the visitors that He brought, the lives that were changed and things like that. And we get to celebrate those things together as a staff. And then we look at the week ahead. What do we have coming up this week? What do we have going on that we need to be working on either for Wednesday or for Sunday? And then Tuesday and Wednesday are kind of just busy work days, working on different things, talking about different things. And then Thursday morning, we have our Sunday meeting. And we make sure that everything we've worked on during the week and anything else that has come up is ready to go for Sunday, because we're not in the office on Friday. I know you may not work with a full church staff. You may be the only pastor. You may be the only person at your church, and that's okay. This may look different for everybody, but just to kind of sit down and say, okay, this is how Sunday went. This is what's going on. This is what I need to be working on this week. And then on Thursday, make sure that we're ready to go for Sunday. Do I get everything done all the time on Thursday? No, I don't. Sometimes I come up on Friday. Sometimes I have to get here early on Sunday because the week happened and stuff happened, and I've got to come in early and make sure computers are ready and things like that. But that's one way to do it, is to kind of find a rhythm that's going to work, and you know how long things are going to take and what it's going to look like to get those things done. So find that rhythm, figure out what works best for you. I probably shouldn't have told all that Tomlinson Time stuff. That doesn't really make you want to watch and take any tips or suggestions from me. So, oh well. And you may be watching this and you may be thinking, I have no idea how to even come up with a schedule or how to even try to schedule out my week, because every week is so different. Several years ago, when our staff was looking at job descriptions and who all does what, one of our pastor coaches encouraged us to write down everything that we do. So think off the top of your head, like on a Sunday morning, write down everything that you do. But then actually on Sunday, when you come in and are doing some of those things, put them in your phone or jot them down. Create a list of the things that you do on a regular basis. It's things that I know that I'm kind of responsible for doing, or the things that I check on a Sunday morning. So usually when I get here, Pastor Kyle's already here, Chase is already here. But I usually check lights in the foyer, make sure those things are turned on. I usually come check our live stream computer and make sure that it's turned on and ready to go, even though I should have been the last one to look at it on Thursday, make sure it doesn't need any updates or anything like that. Those are just things that I typically do that help me on a Sunday morning and help us to make sure that everything's covered. And so I would write those down. Who do you check in with? Does somebody put out welcome flags or welcome signs? Does somebody get something ready for your greeters? Does somebody start coffee? Whatever those things are, create that list for Sunday morning. Put those things in your phone. List out what you do throughout your week, and do that for a couple weeks, and you'll begin to see a pattern of when you do things and how you do things. And you'll probably be a little surprised at how much you do on a regular basis that maybe you do out of reflex or that you do out of habit. And if there's something on that list that you can even delegate out to somebody, even if it's something simple like making coffee on Sunday mornings, ask somebody to get there early. Hey, would you be willing to help do this? Even though that might only be 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes where you might be able to be doing something else. And if you can do that 2 or 3, 4, 5 times, that's 15 or 20 minutes that you're freed up, and you're also allowing somebody else to serve and to do something. Whatever it may be, look over that list and see if there's some things that you can monitor and adjust, and that allows you to do other things better. A couple years ago, we were in one of our coaching meetings, and we were talking about just some different stuff, and a couple different people made comments about me and that I need to unload or hand off some of the things that I do, because I do a lot of little things. And that kind of happens when you've been at a church or somewhere for a while. You collect things to do, you see needs, and you do those things, and we just kind of do them. We don't, whatever that is, but we can fill up our plate really fast. And we were talking, that was not even the focus of what we were talking about in that meeting, but our coach, Pastor Joel, was like, hold on, wait a minute, let's talk about Zach for a minute. And we spent about 30 to 45 minutes talking about like my regular Sunday morning, and that was super uncomfortable. But it was good, even though it was really hard. It made me realize, hey Benny, it made me kind of realize a lot of the stuff that I do. And I'm not saying that boastfully, like that sounds cringy, but just the things that I just do because I know it needs to be done. And it was very uncomfortable talking about some of the stuff that I do, and some of the roles that I fill and the hats that I wear and things like that. But it was healthy for our staff, and people said, hey, let me do that. Let me take some of that on. And it made me realize that I need to do that. I need to turn loose of things that I don't need to be holding on to, and allow other people to serve and allow other people to do things. And so if you're a minister that wants to hold on to everything, I would just encourage you to make that list and figure out what you can let go of. Because if you can clear some room off of your plate with some other things, and you're edifying the church by allowing other people to serve and be a part of the ministry, then that opens up your plate either for something else or to do other things better and have a better impact on some of those things that really are your passion, some of those things that you're really called to do. So not easy, but very, very worth it in the long run. Just so there are no misconceptions, I know you saw me moving some chairs and the stairs earlier after cleaning up some after the event that we had last night, but I got back after lunch and went to Hayden's awards thing, and everything was cleaned up and perfect and ready for the rest of the week. Benny is our custodian. She is an amazing person, works harder than anybody else I know, and does it with a great attitude and heart for the Lord and heart for others. So the sanctuary is beautiful again, like the event last night never even happened. I can't take credit for that. I moved like 40 chairs and 2 stage pieces, but Benny did everything else. I didn't want you to get the wrong impression that I did all that, because I didn't. And my last recommendation would be to take that list of everything that you do and look at it and ask some questions. How much time do you spend planning and preparing? That's good. We need to do that. Sometimes we need to plan more and prepare more. Sometimes we may need to plan and prepare less. I know that sounds odd. How much time do you spend with people? Are we building in time during our week to go have lunch with somebody from church? Are we going to coffee with somebody from the community? Maybe even another pastor that is doing something along the same lines in ministry, and just being able to sit down and talk and encourage each other. How much time are we spending ministering to the people that God has here with us? When I was in seminary, I was doing student ministry, and one of my professors said, really in student ministry, lots of times we mainly focus on students, which that's good, that's our goal. But there's parents and there's volunteers, and you need to figure out what the breakdown is in those 3 areas. If you're spending a quarter of your week with people, then what is that breakdown of that? How much time are you spending with students? Are you spending equal time encouraging and talking to parents, and then pouring into volunteers and training them and helping them to fulfill their potential in serving and all those kinds of things? And so begin to ask some of those questions. How much time am I spending with just me and God? Am I taking opportunities to be with family in the evenings and not having to be at the church 4 nights a week? Because I understand that different seasons are busy and different churches do different things, but that's a very quick way to get burned out and to get frustrated about things. And so really take an honest look and begin to ask some of those questions, and then to ask if there's something I could change, if if there's something I could do differently, if there's something I could invest more of my time in, what decisions can I make during my week to make sure that I get to do that? Make sure we leave time to allow God to speak to us and to dream and to plan and say, God, what is it that you want for me? What is it that you want for my family? What is it that you want for this church, for this ministry, this thing that you've called me to? I get real caught up, the whole Tomlinson Time thing, I get real caught up in the, got to get this done, got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, and then it's on to the next thing. And it's when God really reminds me, hey, you just need to slow it down and breathe a little bit and allow him to work in my life and through me in ministry. That is when I feel like ministry for me is at its best, when I'm focused in on God and allowing him to work and his Spirit to work and to move in my life and not just go boom, 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 got to get all this done. I hope and I pray that I never take what I get to do for granted, that I'm always thankful that I get to be around God's people, that I get to be a part of what he's doing in church and in the community. And I just pray that I never get so busy that I forget about that, because it really is a blessing. Ministry is a blessing. Let me know down in the comments if there's something that you do that helps you be a good manager and steward of your time to make a greater impact for the Lord. If you're like me and you're on Tomlinson Time, just leave me a comment that just says Tomlinson Time. That'd be great. Thank you again for watching. If you found value in this or found something useful, please share this with somebody else that might enjoy the video. Till the next one, walk humbly.